Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I did my Squid Game inspired nail art. Warning, spoilers ahead! I've gone ahead and skipped the basic part of nail prep and the boring part of painting the base colors and have already painted all my nails in their respective base colors for their designs. I know my nails look whack right now because of all the random colors, but I promise you it'll look much better once I'm done. Let's start off with my left hand, which will have the more intricate designs since I'm right-handed. For my left thumb, I've gotten my inspiration from the white walls in this scene. Did you know that all the games that the players were going to play were all illustrated on the dorm walls? I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out online. Of all the games, I've chosen to paint the tug of war illustration. I started off with a white base and decided to add some glitter to the white because I thought that the white was too boring. Next, I used a very thin brush with black gel polish to paint the illustration. To make things easy, I first drew a straight line across the middle of the nail. This straight line is going to be the rope in the illustration. The line I drew was not very neat, so I used a clean brush to clean the edges and also thin out the line a little bit more. Then, I tried to paint the stick figures. Keyword, tried. It was so difficult to paint the stick figures upside down, so I wiped it away, redo it, and had to wipe it away again because it was just so ugly, and decided that I shall attempt some physical gymnastics to not have to paint it upside down. It was not very comfortable painting my nail in this position because my camera was in the way, but things were much easier now that I didn't have to do mental gymnastics. By the way, did you guys enjoy Squid Game? I honestly didn't understand the hype at all. The entire plot was very predictable, and there wasn't much of a twist. I went into the series thinking that it involves games that require scheming to win, but in the end, all you need to have is just luck and strength on your side. Except maybe for that one time when the SMU dude tricked the foreign dude. That's about it. And it didn't even involve any crazy plans. Once I'm done with the stickman, the last thing I had to do for this nail was to paint the platform that they were standing on. And on to the next nail. What is Squid Game without their trusty minions? On this finger, I'm going to paint a chibi version of their masked minion. Using a thin brush dipped in red gel polish, I drew an outline of a human wearing a hoodie. To simplify things, I split them into shapes: a circle for the head, triangle for the body, and two lines for the legs. Okay, so since I'm not a fan of Squid Game, why am I doing this entire set of nails inspired by it? Well, despite the lousy plot, in my opinion, please don't hate me, the sets were really pretty. I loved the colors that they used and the cheery vibes it gives, so I thought, why not put this color palette on my nails? And of course, because Squid Game is trending, but it probably would have died off by the time I upload this video. I used black polish to fill in the circle and drew the details for the hoodie. Now, for the most difficult part, I had to draw the shape on the mask. It was very difficult because my thinnest brush was not thin enough. I even used a needle, and it still was not thin enough. I ended up just drawing a white triangle that was filled, cure it, and then fill up the insides of the triangle with black polish. And finally, I gave the dude some shoulders. Now we've come to the first game, red light, green light. Starting off with the doll's hair, I drew a wonky heart with two pigtails. I went in with a darker brown to give some shading detail to the hair. I had a hard time getting the dark brown right because I didn't have brown in my gel polish collection, and when I finally got it right, I decided to immediately use it on my other finger that needs brown too. Can you guess what I'm gonna paint on this finger? Ta-da! Yep, it is the dalgona candy. And since I'm using my left hand to paint on my right nail, of course I'm going to choose the easiest shape to paint. Okay, back to the doll. I used a darker yellow to paint the shirt, and later orange to paint the overall dress. I couldn't quite get the color right, so I painted over it a few times until I was happy with it. Did you guys play this game in your childhood? Apparently the doll says the hibiscus flower has bloomed. Here in Singapore, I remember singing A-E-I-O-U, Bengali loves you when we played it, which is somewhat racist now that I think about it. And in Chinese, we just say 123木头人, which directly translates as 123 person made of wood. What is this game called in your country? Alrighty, the next nail is inspired by this scene. When this set first appeared in the series, I was in awe because it is so pretty. Starting off with a yellow base, I painted the bottom part of the nail blue. And then I painted the pink stairs on the side. By the way, did you guys guess who the mastermind was before the review? I started to suspect 001 when I saw how happy he was during the first game. At first I thought that he planned this because he never had a great childhood, was the ostracized kid in his neighborhood. And since he was dying, he decided to plan this elaborate scheme both as a way to actually play the games before dying and also to take revenge on society. I was so disappointed that was not the case in the end. To give this nail some extra bling, I added a layer of pink glitter over the stairs. On my pinky, I'm going to paint the North Korean's tracksuit number on. She was my favorite character in the series and I was hoping that she'll live, but no! Of course, the main character has to be the last one standing. I hate the main character, by the way. Who on earth steals money from your frail mother to gamble? Anyway, I thought that the knife that 067 smuggled in was such a waste, cause in the end, she only used it to unscrew the vent. There's so much potential in the weapon. What were the scriptwriters thinking? So now that I've finally finished my left hand, let's move on to the darker side of Squid Game. That is, to paint my right hand using my left. The thumb is inspired by the walls in this scene, but instead of using the pastel blue in the background, I started off with grey because I wanted to paint the skies on my pinky and didn't want the nails to be looking too similar. Following the shapes on the wall, I painted them on the thumb using their corresponding colours. The umbrella was the most difficult, so I just left it out altogether. As for the star, I painted it with the lines inside with the plan of cleaning it up with a clean brush. But that plan failed, so I just covered it with more grey polish. And to give the nail more bling, I added some glitter polish in the middle of the shapes. I filled up the empty spaces on the nail with some dots using the same colours as the shape. But my camera went out of battery and died, so I did the rest of it off camera. Since the fourth finger uses the same technique for painting shapes, I went ahead and painted the famous Squid Game card on it while charging the battery. To space the shapes out evenly, I painted the middle shape, which is the triangle, first. I didn't paint the shapes on brown, which is the color of the card, because then the color would be too similar to the dalgona nail, so I used their tracksuit color as the base and white for the circle, triangle, and square. Moving on to the index finger, I'm going to paint a pink pastel cross on the black base. I had to paint a few layers of the pink to get the desired opacity. Cure between each layer and clean up the edges. Since I want the blacks to be glossy and the pinks to be matte, I first painted a glossy top coat, cure it, and then painted the matte top coat on the cross only. Can you guess what this is from the series? Let me give you a clue. I am going to be adding this ribbon charm on the nail. I bought this set from Taobao because I wanted a Pikachu, but the ribbon is coming in handy for the Squid Game nails set. Except that it was not in the right color, so I painted it pink, the same pink as the cross on the nail, and finished it with a matte top coat as well. The set of nail charms came with a bottle of glue, so I'm gonna try this out. I don't really like it because it dries really quickly and didn't give me enough time to adjust the ribbon, so the ribbon ended up a little bit wonky. I think it's just a regular super glue. I can't comment on how well this glue holds because I ended up adding gel glue in the end. So anyway, the index finger is done. Do you know what it is now? And now we are finally onto the last finger. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to paint the skies in this scene on the pinky. Starting off with a pastel blue base, I painted white randomly across the nail. I didn't want the white to be too opaque here, so it is a very thin layer. And then I slowly built the white layer by layer, and also added pink and blue, curing between each layer until I'm happy with the color. The final layer of color was a pink glitter, which is the same one that I used on the stairs. And then I'm going to add some gems. I just bought this glue from AliExpress and it's my first time using it and I'm actually very happy with it. Previously, I stuck my gems on using a normal clear gel and they just kept falling. Now I have had this set on for about 3 weeks at this point of time when I'm editing the video and it's still going on strong. So anyway, I arranged the moon, a star, and a random ball on my nail and cure. And then I applied another layer of the glue to secure it further and decided to use this glue on the ribbon too. Now all that's left is to finish this set with a glossy no-wipe gel top coat for all the nails minus the right index finger. And we are done! I'm so happy with how this set turned out. Which nail is your favorite? Personally, I really like the stairs the most and hate the coffin finger because the ribbon is just so obtrusive. I was expecting it to be smaller. It's the finger that I use to point to anything and everything, and every time I point at something, the attention is on my finger and not the thing that I'm pointing at. And not to mention, it is also the finger that I use to take my nose, and the ribbon is really getting in the way. Comment down below which finger you liked the best. Feel free to tell me which one you hate too. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! You know how some people use their pets for a nice fur backdrop for their nail shots? I don't have a pet, so I'm using my jacket!